Dr. Ziggy here again, and behind the camera, Matt, my brand manager.
Hi.
Okay, Matt, do you know what vibe coding is?
I'm assuming it's coding that passes the vibe test.
Yeah, I thought you wouldn't know, because if you're a new listener, you wouldn't know that Matt is a non-technical person. So, vibe coding is this new thing that's escalated. Once again, we're in the world of artificial intelligence. Nothing is like this, right? Whenever something good happens, it gets blown like to smithereens and pieces. So, in February of 2025, one of the co-founders of OpenAI, who was no longer with OpenAI, of course, his name was Andrej Karpathy, he posted on X the following summary. Fully give in to the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that the code even exists. So he coined the term vibe coding, which basically means don't write any code and let AI do the coding for you. So if you need to write some kind of application, some kind of a little program, just let AI do it, right? And if something doesn't work, tell AI what doesn't work and just relax. It's the vibe of the thing, to quote a famous Australian film that our non-Australian people will not understand, but that's a funny reference. So since February 2025, this whole thing has escalated, and it's actually been quite impressive because artificial intelligence has allowed the common person, perhaps like you, Matt, as well, to build or at least code programs for themselves. And it's great because coding is, it takes years and years to learn, but suddenly all you've got to do is write prompts to artificial intelligence, ChatGPT or Gemini 2.5 or whatever is your LLM of choice, and you can start building programs. So it exploded, right? And this guy, for example, Pieter Levels, he built an MMO flight simulator. It's wonky, it's clunky, it looks like Minecraft, but he's making $87,000 a month on ads. All he did was say, I vibe coded this, come and have a look, and people just flocked to this flight simulator. And he has 5 other projects that he's done vibe coded, and he's making like $250,000 a month, man. Like crazy money. So AI is able to do a lot these days, to the point where, of course, the CEOs of big companies have jumped on board. The CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, said that mid-level engineers are going to be gone, software engineers are going to be gone by the middle of this year, Matt. The CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, has said that AI will write 90% of the code for software engineers within the next 3 to 6 months, and every line of code within the next year. So he said this in March 15, which is funny because you go to Anthropic's website and they have jobs open for software engineers that have 12-month contracts, right? If he truly believed that AI was going to write all code within the next 12 months, he wouldn't have these kinds of contracts available. But anyway, so Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, has also come out and said things along similar lines. Like, CEOs are jumping on board with this whole idea of vibe coding. It's like the next big thing. And it is great. But as recurrent viewers of my channel will know, when it comes to CEOs of big companies, when they get on board with something, you got to take what they say with a grain of salt, because it's in their vested interest to hype up this whole thing. They need more money. They need to appease the current investors, saying everything's all right, this thing is going to explode, we're going to give you back the trillions of dollars that you've already put into this field. So things aren't as necessarily rosy as they want you to believe, obviously. Now, once again, vibe coding AI is great, but it's not that simple. For example, plenty of examples like this, but there's this guy on X called Leo, and he decided to document his entire process of building software, vibe coding it, not writing a single line of code. He has no background in computer science. He just goes, all right, I'm going to document this. And he started to get a little bit arrogant. March 14, he posted something like this. He paraphrased critics. You can't really build a SaaS with AI. Nobody's going to pay for that. It will be full of bugs. And his response, lol. So, he released his software. What do you think happened?
His software was full of bugs and he didn't know how to fix them because he didn't know what was going on?
Close. Hackers got in.
Oh, no.
Hackers tore him to shreds. 3 days later, he posts the following on X. Guys, I'm under attack. Ever since I started to share how I built my SaaS using Cursor, which is a vibe coding tool.
What's SaaS?
SaaS, software as a service. So basically you allow software to work online and you rent the software rather than install it on your computer. And he continues, random thing are happening, maxed out usage on API keys, people bypassing the subscription, creating random SHIT in the database. As you know, I'm not technical, so this is taking me longer than usual to figure out. There are just some weird people out there. And then the next day, FML, I should have just kept it quiet. And that's the thing, right? It's not as rosy as everyone wants you to think it is. Even the guy who made the MMO flight simulator, Pieter Levels, he has had a lot of coding experience prior to releasing all of his software. So he can guide artificial intelligence. I don't think he vibe coded everything like he said he did, because coding is extremely, extremely difficult. And this is where we get to the crux of the program. If you talk to any mid-level engineer or high-level engineer, they will tell you how difficult coding is. They will tell you it's not an easy thing to do. And I'm going to turn now to a famous professor who died a few years ago in 2022 called Fred Brooks. He's a legendary computer scientist. He won the Turing Award in 1995. He wrote a seminal book in 1975 called The Mythical Man Month. And we had to read a lot of his essays and books in our undergraduate course. And one of the things that we had to read was a seminal essay that he wrote in 1986 called No Silver Bullet, Essence and Accident in Software Engineering. Now, when he says essence and accident, he's using terms in philosophy from Aristotle, going back a long way, to describe the essence is something that is inherent, something that is essential to a thing, to a problem, and accident is something that is secondary, is not part of the essence. So in this essay, he basically says that software work is the most complex that humanity has ever undertaken. That's a big claim, but I understand where he's coming from. If you're a mid-level engineer or a high-level engineer and you've seen the complexity of code, you've seen code complexity grow exponentially the larger it gets, you realize, man, coding is hard. And undergrad students don't really appreciate this because they haven't got the experience to see how complex this stuff can become. Anyway, so in this essay, No Silver Bullet, he basically says that there is no simple solution to reduce the complexity of writing software. Remember, he's writing this in 1986. So what he's done is that he's looked at what coding is and he said, man, this is hard. And any advancements that will come or have come, for example, programming languages have advanced. We now have object-oriented programming languages. Programming environments, programming tools like IDEs, design tools, hardware. Hardware has accelerated significantly since 1986. He's saying all of these tools, all of these improvements are not tackling the inherent, the essential complexity of software engineering. They're kind of the accidental, the secondary issues. They're sort of helping the programs out a little bit, but not tackling the core problem. And I'm really glad that we read this essay. I think I was in my third year in my degree, and this essay has become mandatory in all my software engineering classes. All my students have to write it, because even in 1986, people could see how difficult software engineering was. This is a quote from the essay. I believe the hard part of building software to be the specification, design, and testing of this conceptual construct, not the labor of representing it and testing the fidelity of the representation. We still make syntax errors, to be sure, but they are fuzz compared to the conceptual errors in most systems. If this is true, building software will always be hard. There is inherently no silver bullet. So once again, the AI has to tackle this complexity. And if it is the hardest work that mankind can do, then perhaps this whole idea of mid-level engineers taking over the jobs by the end of this year, or 100% of code being written by AI by the end of this year, is a little bit too far-fetched. So I would suggest read that essay and also go into YouTube videos and have a look at the commentary of these YouTube videos that talk about vibe coding, and pick out the ones that have been written by high-level engineers, by software engineers that have had a lot of experience, and see what they say. See if they truly believe that their jobs are going to be replaced by the end of the year, or within 2 months, because we're nearly midway through the year. So mid-level engineers, software engineer jobs gone by within 2 months now? Probably don't think so. So the idea is that AI is going to get better, but this stuff is hard, man. This stuff is hard, and these CEOs have a vested interest in hyping up their product. There's lots happening. And I think, Matt, for example, with Mark Zuckerberg, I think layoffs are coming in Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg has invested billions into his whole meta projects, in whole virtual reality projects, because he thought that was the future. That's flunked. It's gone. His billions of dollars have been pretty much wasted. What are all those software engineers going to do? They're probably going to get laid off. So he has to have some kind of a explanation for these layoffs, right? It's not that Facebook's ideas are failing. It's not that Facebook has nothing new to give these new workers to do. It's that AI is taking over their jobs, right? I don't think that's true. I just think that he's wasted billions of dollars, and these investors are not going to be happy with this. So, anyway, do you want to add anything to that, Matt?
I guess, so anyone can cook, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that anyone can cook well.
Yeah.
And
that's a great analogy, yeah.
Comparing cooking to baking, like anyone can cook, and then you could say, well, anyone can bake, but baking is, in my opinion anyway, way more complicated than cooking. So I'm an alright cook, but I'm a terrible baker. And so I think this vibe coding thing would be like, if I got all cocky and overconfident and decided I'm going to make a souffle, it's going to flop, and I'm not going to know how to fix it because I'm not a baker.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. You're getting the idea. The thing is that you don't appreciate the complexity of coding if you've never coded or if you've never seen high-level code. So it's easy for most of the population to get caught up in this hype. It's really easy to do so, but then it's just gonna backfire. And I'm glad that vibe coding is now a thing, and I'm glad that AI has opened these doors up for people like you. And if you go online, have a look at some of the stuff that people do. It's great. But don't tell me that mid-level engineers, high-level engineers are going to lose their jobs within 12 months. I'm not going to believe it.
There's a difference between like making a program and making it actually soundly functional.
Making it work, especially in the world of software, because hackers are just sitting there going, it's time to party. It's time to party. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
That's right.